What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the created one DJ Dog. With our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Oh yeah, JJ Wang. It is mid-July, a little past mid-July, only 2 months until real football, a few days, few weeks, depending on the team, until training camp starts. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited, but only there's just no news coming out right now, and it's kind of like getting you down. You kind of gotta go look for news, right?
So
Because
you're telling me that N'Keal Harry signing with the Bears is not a needle mover for you?
I mean, at this point, that's all we got. So, I mean, we got that, and we got where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to end up. But like, the more I hear about that, I mean, it seems like Seattle might end up being the actual landing spot for Jimmy. Who knows?
Somebody say that?
Well, I mean, a lot of people have said that, but there's only like what two places that he could actually go for pretty much this whole offseason, and it was either Carolina or Seattle.
Well, the dark horse, and I think that's going to change due to the Watson stuff, was Cleveland signing him to a 1-year contract to get him some build up because that'd be a pretty good landing spot for him to versus.
If I was Cleveland, I'd be just screw it. Let's just roll Brissett. If we're bad, we're bad. We get a good pick. I mean, who cares? I mean,
But the thing is, Chubb's old. Do you want to waste a year of Chubb getting beaten up? That's the problem they're running into.
Who cares? He's a running back. You can get another one in there that does the exact same thing that he does.
Say Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford. What? Huh?
It might not be Jerome Ford, but if you got a bad enough pick, you might be able to get one of the top running backs coming out.
Yeah,
there's a kid from Alabama, and then there's a kid from, I don't want to say where he's from, Texas.
There's a handful. Like this year was the receiver draft. Isn't next year the quarterback running back draft from what I'm hearing?
Who knows? There's going to be 19 receivers coming out, but there'll be a couple more running backs. And well, the thing is, there'll just be more quarterbacks coming out next year than going in the first round than there was last year.
I did send you a message, but I was quite excited in my rookie draft this week. I finally got my first share of Malik Willis for what it's worth.
Yeah, I was kind of upset. I really didn't get any of them this year. I mean, going into this, to the draft, I was like, I'm definitely going to get it, but it just didn't play out. I mean, I had opportunities, but I don't know.
I got to make a video. The rookie draft I did, I have never seen so much trading and movement. It was the most fun time I've ever had doing a rookie draft because I went from 1 pick to 5 picks to 4 picks. I got a first round pick for next year, which I kind of regret a little bit because it cost me Zamir White, but I got to sit down and write down everything because I can't remember what it is. I'm going to make like a little Facebook post because it's that complicated to look at how I moved from position 9 to 12 and I still got Garrett Wilson and I got extra pick. It was just a fun little jumping around and picking up, and I'm happy with what it ended up with to go on my team that I'm trying to build. So it's makes for fun, and hopefully more people are getting into Dynasty because they know we love it.
I mean, eventually Dynasty is going to be pretty much the only thing. I mean, of course you'll have like your random redraft leagues, but I feel like it's hard.
I think we're too deep in. We're so deep in. I don't think as many people are as deep as we are, and I could see it. I think it's going to grow a lot more, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it'll ever be the preeminent form because so many people there's so many laissez-faire. Like they only are in it for like a season and don't want to be nerds like us.
Plus, there's so many gamblers out there that daily fantasy and best ball stuff like that will be more popular because.
Yeah, I would say daily fantasy would jump any of them.
People just like to fling around money. People just like to gamble. I mean, that's the bottom line. People just like to fling it around, man.
As you say that, I'm going to jump up through our conversation. I'm taking one of our late notes, and I'm going to say it earlier. This week, we have a treat for everybody. The next 2 weeks, we have 2 special Fantasy Courier episodes. We were talking, and a lot of people ask us to talk about, they ask us about what kind of drafts do we like, what kind of leagues do we like. So we did 2 special episodes, one about the different kinds of drafts you can do, and one about the different kinds of leagues. One will premiere this week, and one will premiere next week as a special episode. So keep a lookout. I'll post on the Facebook community and throughout social, and you'll see them pop up from your podcaster. So make sure you click that little notification so you get notified. I love seeing on my phone when it says Fantasy Couriers, new episode. It makes me feel cool. So click on there to get notified so you can see that it comes up and you can hear our special episodes we recorded that are they're not time sensitive, but it'll be good for you as you're looking to start leagues or learn about new leagues. But enough about future episodes. We're talking about the now episode. I gave this episode a really cool title that I forgot what it was. Oh, I called this Stat Line Arguments.
Like it.
So it's a JJ Wang original. We're looking for different kinds of shows to do, as we mentioned before. We don't want to do just a hey, these are the top 12 best running backs because you know who they are. We'll throw them in, but we like to get something a little different. We'll talk about in the past we've talked about dark horses, old guys, stuff that we'll fit hitting in the next month or so as we get ready. We still want to help you prepare for your draft, so we will have some special episodes about our rankings that we're working on. Wink, wink. So we can talk about them.
Probably my least favorite part of the year. Probably.
It was requested. I asked the community, what do you want? And that was what they asked of us. They want us to help them succeed. And if we're the best thing they got, we got to give them. If it's asked for by the people, we are nothing but men of the people.
Oh yeah, I mean that's been my motto since day one. I mean everybody has been along for the ride of JJ Wang. It's always been, I'm a man of the people. I do what the people want, and if that's what they want, I mean, I'll do it. I mean, it's not necessarily what I want, but at some point in life, it's can't always be about you. Like,
hey, I gotta go look back. I think didn't you have Josh Allen as your number one quarterback last year?
probably. No, I did. I'm sure I did. He's my favorite. Yeah,
That's a pretty good call. It can't be as good as my Calvin Ridley wide receiver one call, but what can we do? Don't listen to me. Listen to JJ Wang. Anyway, so this week it's all about stat lines. We're gonna name some players, and we've created stat lines for where we think they might end up, and talk about why we think they might end up, and then the other guy is going to sort of rebuttal against us, whether they agree, whether they're like, "Are you nuts?" And we haven't seen each other's stat lines. Honestly, we don't even know, as we're recording this, who each other has. I did warn JJ Wang that I do have Tua, because of course I got to talk about Tua. It's been a couple episodes since a good Tua conversation.
I was really going to bring up Davis Mills. I really was, but I was like, I'm going to be talking about Davis Mills so much over the next.
Got to get it out this year, because next year when they draft a quarterback, you won't be able to talk about
That's
Davis
not
Mills.
that's not going to happen. I'm going to talk about Davis. I'm going to talk about him so much until the season starts that people are going to be sick of the guy. They're probably going to hate him even more. Well,
I mean, his ADP might move up about 3 rounds thanks to the JJ Wang experience. What can you do?
I guarantee his ADP will move up by the time the season rolls around.
It seems to be sneaking. I got to go look and see where it is, but I hear a lot of pods I listen to. They're riding with you, man. It's ride or die Davis Mills, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, because you're not paying a lot for him. Why not get on the train now? Because eventually you're going to miss out on it. So
see, I got zero Davis Mills, but I got a lot of the ancillary pieces. I've got a couple of Nico Collins. I did draft. I got some Brevin Jordans popping around. I do have some Pierces. I almost picked up Marlon Mack just because, but 3 games in, it won't matter.
It might not, but
I got 0 Cooks, which makes me sad, and I got a couple of Mechis. So I think
Marlon Mack might have a touchdown year though.
I think he's going to have a decent year just to kick us in the butt. I've been so snake bitten. If we do an episode of guys that I won't draft, I don't care how good they are, he's probably right up there at the top. So anyway, this is a JJ Wang original game. So JJ Wang, I'm going to let you go first. Who is your first guy, and what is your stat line?
All right, so my first guy, we talked about him earlier in this year. I was really high on him when we was doing our team breakdown. I'm hoping I get his name right this time. It's Derek Carr. So I realized when we was doing that, he had almost 5,000 yards passing, but the only thing that kind of held him back a little bit was the touchdowns. So I think they bring in Devontae Adams. I think the touchdowns definitely go up. I think the yards might come back down a little bit, not from what I got, not a whole lot. But the way the NFL is going, I mean, I don't see it coming down a whole lot because they're still going to run the ball or throw the ball a lot. I think there'll be more of a passing team than running because I don't think they really know who the running back is going to be. So Derek Carr, I got him with 4,650 yards. So it's about 200 yards less than last season. This is the big thing. I have him with 33 touchdowns, and that's probably going to put him at, definitely in the top 10 of quarterbacks. He's just not going to have all that rushing capability. But I think this is going to be Derek Carr's best year. Just because of mainly because, of course, Devontae Adams is going to be really good.
We could be the most boring podcast in the world. I'm going to disagree with you only because I think he can do better.
Well, all right.
So, I mean, I would add some numbers there. I mean, you're adding Adams. The thing is, we all go up and down with Waller. If Waller's healthy, in the seam. You got Adams on the outside. You also have Renfro, who Carr likes right here. You've got Jacobs, who can catch every now and then. And then who's their number two receiver, big guy? Who would it be?
I don't
I
know.
have to go looking it up. Like I knew it a while back,
Because
but
they got rid of Zay
Nate
Jones
Jones.
and the kid that went to Atlanta, Edwards.
Oh yeah, Brian Edwards.
So I don't know
Um,
who their number. It would be their number 4 target anyway. So
we're looking at Keelan Cole. Oh, my boy Mac Hollins is there.
oh man, I had no idea.
And they got for a streaker, they got Demarcus Robinson. But I could totally see him crushing that. Like when you said 5,000 yards, I think 5,000 in the today's NFL, especially because Josh Jacobs doesn't want to run because he's chicken and doesn't want to be a premier running back.
Well, they got Zamir White for that.
But he'll catch the ball. Zamir White. Oh no, he's a bruiser too. So I don't know. But I could see him getting closer to that 5,000 yards. I could see him in 35, 37 touchdowns with those. I mean, you got to figure.
Right.
I could see you beating it.
All right,
I'm not
hey.
gonna go under. I love it. I love it. I mean, hopefully my brother-in-law is listening to this podcast. I'm gonna have to tell him because he's gonna be like dancing around. A couple of the guys that are in our auction league are big Raiders fans. Are like, dude, the Couriers are finally on. I mean, we have Raider colors for our logos here. If you're watching us, so I can't disagree. Now, I'll tell you my guy, and I'm gonna let you disagree because I know you will. My guy. Oh no, not. Oh, I'm gonna skip him. I'm gonna start with the quarterback to go with you. My guy is Carson Wentz, your favorite Washington Commander, and I have him for 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns. And I love the situation for Wentz. And I think the interesting thing about Wentz is if he didn't play the Jaguars and roll over in that last game, he would still be a Colt, and his season would have looked at as a pretty successful season coming into a team that basically wanted to run Jonathan Taylor until Jonathan Taylor died. And I'm looking back at Carson Wentz's best season. If he hadn't gotten hurt the Super Bowl year, he was on pace for 4,056 yards and 40 touchdowns. And that was with Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar Ertz, and Torrey Smith. Talking about some names, Torrey Smith out of VA. I had a buddy that coached him. Now he has Scary Terry, Samuel, that stud backfield. He's got some nice young tight ends. If Logan Thomas, I don't know, I haven't heard anything updates really around here on his status when he comes back, but he's got a decent group. I think the running backs are really going to help him get some of those sneaky short touchdowns. That I think 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns is totally great for Carson Wentz, who realistically, if you have Carson Wentz, which I do, he's your number 3 quarterback. I would kill for that out of a number 3 quarterback.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing is, well, first I'll say that I think the touchdown's a little high. I don't think he's going to get that many. I'm thinking probably like 23, 24, kind of like Derek Carr had last year. I don't see it that high. And the thing is, with 4,000 yards, today's NFL, it's 4,000 yards is what seems like every quarterback gets, right? Yeah. I mean, I feel like, unless you're like that true running quarterback that doesn't throw all the time. I feel like if you're just a pocket, you're going to get 4,000 yards. And if he doesn't, you feel like it's a down season. And I almost get to the point where like 5,000 is the new 4,000, like the way it was back when somebody crossed 4,000 yards. You're like, oh my goodness, that's insane. But now that's like 5,000. So, I mean, like you said, I'll say Carson Wentz is an average quarterback. I mean, I like Carson Wentz. I was surprised with how well he did last year, as bad as the season was. But I think it's the possibilities there. I just don't think he can be, like you said, he's probably your number 3 quarterback, which I think is probably right where he belongs.
Yeah, and I mean, last year he had 3,563 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. That's pretty stinking amazing. Like, I would take that as a number 2 quarterback, realistically, because he's filling in a spot.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's still
dirty.
It's still the Commanders, and
it's still Carson Wentz. It's all together.
It's going to be. It has potential to be the Commanders just continue being a disaster. I mean, who knows?
Like the last 25 years.
Yeah, like the last 25 years.
It's going to be like my Cleveland Guardians. New name, new aura. Everything's. I mean, the Guardians are overperforming with their new name. Maybe the Commanders will overperform with their new non-native name, and they will succeed. I don't know. So you want to go again? Or you want me to throw out a guy?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, my second guy, who I don't know if you saw the highlight. This is a guy I've fallen in love with in the offseason. I used to try to give him away for peanuts, and that is Hollywood Brown. I drafted him in our first dynasty league we did together years ago because he was there. And I was like, dude, I got to get this guy. And he's gotten better each year. Like last year, the dude had a great year in a Lamar Jackson passing offense, which was pretty good. You can't argue with him. And that just I was trying to pull up his stats here as I'm stalling, but he's but last year the dude had 1,008 yards and 6 touchdowns for a Lamar Jackson offense. He's now going to be with his BFF. He's going to be without D Hop for 6 games, and I think him and Ertz are going to ball out those first 6 weeks, and he's just going to keep rolling. So I've got Hollywood Brown getting his highest catch. I mean, he had 90. What do you have? 91 catches last year. He can crush that. He's going to get 100 catches, 1,200 yards, and 10 touchdowns from his best friend Kyler Murray.
I mean, Nate, I don't know. I'm so on the fence. I think this guy is like one of the guys that I'm most on the fence about. It's like I just don't know what he's going to end up. Like I say, I know he's best friends. That's kind of like, Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, going back to college together and playing, and they killed it in college. And it's going to live like just like one big giant love story. But I can see it, but I also not see. I mean, it's kind of tough for me right now. Like, I don't know if I want the guy.
Oh, I'm grabbing him everywhere, and I'm going down with that ship like a champ. So, out of curiosity, if you had to pick one of these stats that you think, I think I know which one you say. Which one of these stats is least likely? 1,200 yards or 10 touchdowns?
Probably 10 touchdowns. Probably. I think. But I can see that. Like, I can see the season happening. Like, I can see it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit, because I mean they're in more of a passing offense now. There are going. I don't want to say he's the main. He'll be the main option. Probably the first couple games of the season, and even when Hopkins comes back, I still feel like he's going to be the number one option, because whether you're a fan of Hopkins or not, last season when he was playing, it wasn't impressive. He just had a lot of touchdowns. The yards were not there at all.
But his stats, his numbers for fantasy, he carried my team till he got hurt.
He was just riding touchdowns, and we all know how touchdowns go. You go from 18 touchdowns one year to 7 the next, and it's just like that. So I think he can be the number one option all year. And I can see the season, but still a little reliant to jump on it.
Okay, who's your next guy?
So my guy's a bit of a stretch.
Oh, I want to hear it. I love it.
People are going to be like, this dude's crazy. I mean, I might be. Who knows? So, but my guy's Rashad Penny, right? And
this is the new hotness.
Yeah, I guess. So I still feel like Seattle wants to be right on this guy. They drafted him in the first round, I think, 18 overall, and all they've done is been getting hounded on for drafting Rashad Penny that high. He's a running back, and he hasn't done anything since he started, but because he's always injured. And then comes in the last 5 games of last season, he just absolutely killed it. He's like the RB1, blah, blah, blah. So coming into this year, they draft Kenny Walker, that other running back that they had. I think he's been injured. I don't know if he's going to be Carson. I don't know if he's going to be anything to threaten it. But this is what I got as Penny. So I gave him 204 carries. That's like 12 a game, 12, 13 a game, something like that, with 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. And then throw in like 15 catches for like 120 yards. Something like it. He's never been like a big receiving back. But I think he's going to get, like I said, this all we're going to say this till the end of time if he stays healthy. That's pretty much what it is. But I think Kenny Walker's still going to get his shot. But I think Penny might be better. I mean, if he actually does stay healthy. So 204 yards, 1,000, and 11 touchdowns.
Once again, I think you're underdoing yourself.
Like a little more crazy.
Yeah, no. You think you're crazy because you're going so high. I think he could go higher again. I think you're going low on both guys. Rashad Penny, if I had Kenneth Walker right now, I'd be petrified for this year. I mean, once again, as always, if healthy. But Rashad Penny, It sounds like they're going to be like, we're going to throw. You have taken our money for 5 years, so now it's our turn. And Pete Carroll's going to run the ball because his quarterbacks are terrible. Rashad Penny might get closer to 260, 260, 270, almost 300 carries.
Well, that's where I started. I started at 250, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, that's a lot. Even in today's NFL, that's a lot, especially for a player with his injury background. I was like, that's like 250 is like 17 carries a game. And not
Uh,
too many running backs. Not too many running backs get that. So I just started bringing it down, and I didn't want to go too high. And this is what I ended up with. Like I said,
do you want to hear his stat lines from week 13 to week 17
oh
last
yeah,
year?
I know what they were.
16,
Yeah.
137, 11 for 39, 17, 135, 25 for 170, 23 for
Oh yeah.
190. It's Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll wants to turn it back to 1970. I think he's gonna roll. Like I heard it out, and I was trying to find it while you were talking if I could find what his projected stat line would be for a season. It's something ridiculous. I think it was like 2,600 yards. It's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
but I could totally see him going for about two. I'll go with you, true 50. I'll give him 1,300 yards and about 13, 14 touchdowns if he plays the whole season. And then Kenneth Walker, rookie guys are just crying like champs.
Yeah, but Kenny Walker's dead come. He's only like
Oh,
21, and
Kenny Walker, yeah. This year
I'm
he's
not too
gonna be
worried.
just sort of the change of pace, but I think next year after, dude's gonna be awesome. I love Kenneth Walker. I mean, he's your standard, Lev Bell, the Michigan State guys you like to just throw in there. But yeah, but I just think it's a penny year. It just has that feel, and I mean they've got to. My only concern would be my only letback on my bold prediction of even taking you farther is I think every team that plays Seattle knows what they're gonna do. If you're watching this video, it's hilarious. JJ Wang is disappearing often on the
Oh, I
screen.
don't. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm
It's
not
like
really
it's like
sure.
your camera's blinking. It's hilarious. Anyway, they know that Seattle's going to run on first, second, third, and maybe even fourth down. DK Metcalf's got about 20 catches for about 300 yards this year. No, not really. But they know that their first option is to run, their second option is to run, and their third option is to run. So they're going to just stack the box. So it could be a good season for DK out of this. He'll get a couple of long bombs because they're there. And I'm worried that might hinder. I mean, but if he runs for 300 yards and he gets 2.3 per carry, it won't matter. So that's going to be my only concern is the quarterback play will really decide what his year looks like actually.
Well, all right, so let me go to my next guy. See if I can give you. So this is
You're
probably
going
one of
to
my.
underwhelm me again. Are you
This
going
is,
to
I
underwhelm me?
guess, probably. This is one of my favorite guys, right? And he hasn't been the number one guy ever. He's a receiver, and that's Alan Lazard. So Alan Lazard is now Aaron Rodgers' number one wide receiver. We can go back to the beginning of time. Aaron Rodgers, wide receiver one, is always good because that's who he trusts and that's who he throws to. And Aaron Rodgers can put it wherever he wants. So you don't have to be the greatest route runner. If you're in a spot, Aaron Rodgers will put it to make sure you're the only one that can catch it. So I think pretty much Alan Lazard's number is pretty much a double over the whole season as him being the true number one. I think he's got 95 catches for 1,250 yards and 14 touchdowns. I think the touchdowns are going to be key. Because like the last 5 games of last year, he was the wide receiver 8, and I think that could just carry over into this next season. And like I said, he's Aaron Rodgers' guy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to who he trusts the most. That's been his whole career, and that guy's Alan Lazard right now. Again,
You're spot on with me. Like we're a boring podcast. I love where you are there. As you're doing, I'm looking at Alan Lazard's stats. If you look at it, I mean, he was behind Devontae Adams, but Devontae Adams' first year, 38 for 446.
yeah.
Second year, 50 for 483. And that's when I traded him to my brother because I was a fool, and then he started to become really good.
You know what?
Alan Lazard, 35, 477, 33, 451, 40, 513. Dude, it screams Devontae Adams explosion part two.
Yeah, if you go back and look, you know why he didn't throw it to Devontae Adams in it? Because
Jordy Nelson.
yeah, he didn't have that trust with him yet. I mean, he had that trust with Jordy Nelson, and then when Jordy Nelson moves on, or Adams' talent ultimately wins out, that's where Aaron Rodgers goes.
Oh, and everybody goes, but Devontae Adams is so much bigger, right?
Dude, no.
No. 6'1", 215. Alan Lazard. I didn't notice it. I haven't
Yeah.
researched Alan. 6'5", 220. Dude, the dude is bigger. So put him in the end zone. Oh my gosh, what we're looking at. Dude. Yeah.
Our sky's the limit. All right. Well, I'm the winner. I'm 3 times the winner here. I'm feeling pretty good
You're
so
three
far.
times the winner. You're gonna love my next guy.
All right, let's
My
go.
next guy is one of our guys that I think we would both agree on that we think's gonna have a good year, but we can't get. That's Travis Etienne.
I was going to do that, but
Came into the league. We all love Travis Etienne. I was not a fan of Spot because we're both James Robinson truthers, and I think that's going to be in the long range. It's going to help and hurt him as far as what he can do. But he's looking sharp. Sounds like he's back to health. James Robinson probably is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Trevor Lawrence can't be any worse. The team's got to be up. They can't be worse coached. The team cannot be worse. And Travis Etienne, I have him with 700 rushing yards, 800 receiving yards, and 10 total touchdowns. This is basically his rookie season. Now, why do I think that? Well, Travis Etienne reminds me of someone. His
how
name
many
is
catches do you think he has?
how many catches? I'll if he's getting 800 receiving, he's got to get I'll give him 80 catches. I'll
All
just
right,
keep it round. I'll go 82 just to keep it round. Give it not be round. But I basically was looking at numbers and I comped him to Alvin Kamara's rookie season because I think they are such a similar kind of player. Different molds to a point, but the play style I think is going to be similar for their career, especially the way their teams are built. Alvin Kamara's rookie season in 2017 had 728 for 8 touchdowns, 81 receptions, 826 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So he had 13 touchdowns. So I underwhelmed Alvin Kamara, and that gives them both a thunder and lightning. So that would mean James Robinson could still get his because we love James Robinson. And then Etienne gets his, and that's 2 good running backs to support Lawrence. That means that'll help Lawrence's progression, just like it made Drew Brees a good quarterback. He was stellar. I think it helped. But so that's the comp I use when thinking of this. But I think Etienne right there, Alvin Kamara's rookie season. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, we all can agree that he's that kind of that kind of player. He's got that kind of talent. I mean, that's close. I mean, I was going to say he's that guy that's going to have right around the same amount of rushing yards as he is passing yards because I think that's where you want to keep him in. And like in today's NFL, it's not about all your. It doesn't have to be about all your eggs in one basket. You don't have to be 1,800-yard receiver or a 1,800-yard rusher. You can easily be, like you said, 800 guy and still be just as good as those other guys, if the touchdowns are right. So, I mean, you don't have to be at the top of the top receiver or the top running back. You can be in the middle as long as you're good at both. I mean, Austin Eckler's made a career out of it. I mean, that's what he does. And I think Etienne is right along in that mold, between 600 and 800, both receiving and rushing. And a 10 touchdown, I guess it's possible. I thought maybe this first
Maybe
year.
like 5 rushing, 5 receiving or
I don't
something.
think it's it's going to be tough. I mean, if he's going to be the goal line back, sure. But if not, he's going to have to break off. He's going to have to break off some runs,
If he say Robinson misses a month, boom, right there they are.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't.
You Connor.
I'm not necessarily thinking they want to give him the running load. I don't think that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's going to affect his efficiency, especially in his first year as being in the NFL. Like I said, he didn't play last year, so he has no idea what the NFL is like on game day.
But luckily he's a running back. Running backs adapt so much better.
Right, but like some don't. I mean, some are great in college, and some just don't adapt.
Yeah.
But like I said, we both think he will. But yeah, I think it's close. I think it's close.
Actually, I don't because he's not on any of my teams. I sent my trade back out. I'm going ready to overpay for him. See if my buddy will take him. We'll see. Oh no. Okay.
Okay, with the next guy.
Oh yeah, my next guy. My favorite position in football. Tight end. Well, actually, it's fullback, but second favorite position. Fullbacks are great, man. Those are the greatest people.
Yeah, that's why there's none in the NFL anymore.
Well, it's because the NFL got faster, but a good fullback, man, nothing like Gold Classic Smash Mouth. But tight end. My tight end this year that I'm in love with is Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett, Captain Mediocre. If you're listening to the podcast, your JJ Wang is Captain. He looks like a 12-year-old girl the way he's rolling his eyes at me. It's like my daughter looking at me like, oh.
Yeah, that's exactly. Man, give me a break.
Oh, here we go. He knows he's got 13. But Gerald Everett, I think, is going to have a career year. Now, I'm not looking. I don't got him going crazy wild. I don't have him going Kittle or Kelsey on us, but I have him for 51 receptions, 700 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Now, that's pretty easy for him to do, considering the giant shell of Jared Cook, who was older than dirt last year, got 48 for 564 and 4 touchdowns. I think a young stud in his, like, this is the good, was he 27 this year or so? That he's in a tight end prime could do what's basically, I mean, this would put him at like tight end 8. So he'll be in his age 28 season this year. So I'm giving him 51 catches, 700 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
So you telling me Jared Evans will be the number 8 tight end this year?
If he pulls those numbers, okay, I'll give him 10. Let's put him at number 10, right there in like the gaggle. Yeah, dude.
I don't see that one bit. But Jared Everett's been okay, right? I mean,
he's Captain Mediocrity.
Okay, so he's okay. But the difference between him and Jared Cook was actually good at some point in his career.
For about 3 years.
Yeah, well, a bit more than Gerald Everett ever has been. Like,
here we go. Jared Cook up until then, he had a couple better years, but I mean, he was looking at 300, 800, 500, 670, 6. I mean, his numbers have never been like super duper high, and his touchdowns have always been single digits, except for that 1 year in the Saints, 2 years in the Saints, 9-7. So these two guys are very similar profiled.
I guess I don't see Gerald Everett.
I'm basing it not on Gerald Everett. I'm basing it on Josh Herbert.
Yes, but they don't really need to throw. They don't throw really to the tight ends. I mean, they got 2 stud wide receivers and a stud running back, and then they probably want to use their 3rd wide receiver even more than that, like Palmer or Guyton. So I mean, you're talking what, the 4th, 5th option. That's even if he's better than the tight end that they got now.
Parham. And I'm guessing Justin Herbert's the quarterback, not that new guy, Josh Herbert, by the way, that I mentioned.
Did I say Josh Herbert?
I said Josh.
Oh, you said Josh. Wait, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Justin. But yeah, I mean, I can't see Gerald Everett top 10.
No, I'm thinking Mike Williams will get hurt by week 3. So Gerald Everett becomes the big guy in the end zone. Keenan will get his. Palmer could step up. I have Palmer on a team. I got a guy who's in love with Palmer. And last year he came in. He was that guy that all of us are like, dude, he didn't play in college. Look at his Tennessee stats. They were like, so he's their number 3 option as far as I'm concerned. And if Mike Williams is healthy, maybe they go down. Gerald Everett.
All Eckler's their 3rd option.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. So he's my number 4. I'll give you 4. Yeah, I'll give you Eckler.
I still think their slot guy is going to end up more of a threat than their tight end. Who knows? I'm going to disagree with that. We'll have to write that one down. We'll have to see. We'll have to see about that one.
I'm going to take what I'm doing is I'm jotting them down here. I'll put this on the Couriers Facebook page to have it as a note and then see what people think of all our predictions and what they think. So we can jot stuff on there.
All right. So I have a tight end, but I'm going to save that for my for a different show. I want to say that. So I'm going to go with probably one of my favorite players, and that's Gabriel Davis. So we all know Gabriel Davis.
He got big
from in the playoffs last year when he had 4 touchdowns. I literally called that before the game. Just when
we were recording, weren't we recording right at that point?
Gabriel Davis is my guy. So this was kind of easy. So I looked at his previous 2 seasons, and literally his previous 2 seasons are exactly the same. Exactly the same, right? So I just doubled his catches, right? So 70 catches, and I think he's a big play guy. So I gave him 1,400 yards. So I gave him 1,350. And then because I think he's a touchdown guy, I'm putting in 15 touchdowns. So I think Gabriel Davis makes a huge leap. But this should be my bold prediction, right? Makes a huge leap, and I think he starts to take over that number 1 receiver in Buffalo.
I think you just killed Stephon Diggs.
Like I said, I think he's going to start taking over the number 1. It might not be this year. I think their numbers are going to be relatively similar. I think Davis scores more touchdowns, of course, but I think this is the year Gabriel Davis starts coming after that number 1 spot, like Luda always said.
Yeah, hey, You know that I am a Davis truther like you. I love Gabe Davis. I am excited. I got him in a trade this offseason, and that team is so good that right now Gabe Davis is on my bench. Might have to change it based upon your predictions, man. I thought you were good. The other ones you underwhelmed. This one you went booyah straight up.
Well,
Like
I mean,
wow.
this could be one of my favorite. I mean,
I
Josh,
love him.
Josh Allen's my absolute favorite player, and then I mean, I might be Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo might be Super Bowl bound again this year. I mean,
I can't buy you two cups. I already got you a Texans cup. You can't change. I got Buffalo. I think spoiler alert. I think we're both going to have the same Super Bowl pick. Just so you know.
maybe.
Barring their defense dying. But yeah, uh, the the touchdowns I am not sure about. Like honestly, if I were to give a Gabe Davis stat line for this year, it'd probably be his career stats: 70 touchdowns, 1148, 70 receptions, 1148 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So you just went a smidge over that. I'm curious if Dawson Knox is going to take a step up this year. What effect Cook's going to have on the team, and I mean, I could see Davis taking over, if not being a 1A, 1B with Diggs this year. So the only stat there that, I mean, I think I would probably stat him a little bit less in yards and maybe touchdowns, but touchdowns you never know.
Yeah,
So
the yards might be a little high, but
yeah,
I mean,
the yards might be, honestly, I could see the touchdowns more than the yards now that I think about it.
I mean, that's almost 20 yards a catch. That might be a little high. I mean, he might get more catches than 70. I just don't see Gabriel Davis as that possession guy. I just see him as that big downfield threat that's going to score a lot of touchdowns.
I think
Oh, I see.
I think he's trying to get into that. Yeah, he is actually who is one of the biggest receivers you can think of in the league.
Like the what do you mean? Like
The- Who are the two big receivers? Looking at AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, Davis
DK's
pretty like stout
well.
himself. I
That's
mean,
going to be my point here
yeah,
because he's put on the pounds. I think it was 226 maybe. DK is 6'4", 335. AJ Brown is
235.
6'1". Sorry, 225. He's a lineman now.
That's a big receiver right there, buddy.
AJ Brown is 6'1", 226. So Gabriel Davis is bigger than AJ Brown with a better quarterback. Why aren't we drafting Gabriel Davis as our number 5 dynasty receiver? Anyway,
Hey, hey, next year they will be.
so I'm thinking we might. Last year we planted our flag with Gibson. That was stupid. Maybe this year we plant our flag with Davis. Anyway, who's your last guy? We'll do the last two guys really quick, and then we'll do our yuck time.
Well, I only got one more guy, and that's the tight end, and I want to say,
All set. Well, then I got to do my homer pick, and I want you to tell me how much of a homer and how close you think it could be. Okay, you ready?
yeah,
Tua Tagovailoa. I got him for 4,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, 245 rushing, and 3 touchdowns. Where would you see him really falling?
like I said, 4,000 yards is where you expect any quarterback to be. So
Yep.
if he doesn't break 4,000 yards, you should be highly disappointed. So I agree with you. I think the 32 touchdowns is a lot. I don't think.
Carson
Well,
Wentz numbers.
I think probably like 25 is where I would go between 23, 24, 25 in that number. Like I said, I
27
can't.
was my number, but I was like, I'm gonna go totally out like your Gabe Davis thing.
Yeah, I don't think the rushing maybe. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how much he actually runs the ball. I'm not really sure. I
Well,
don't
they
even
say
know if
that getting
you want
him
him running the ball.
healthier and moving more is going to be
I think the touchdowns are a lot.
the touchdown.
I think the
So,
touchdowns. I can see the 4,200 yards because that's about average an average quarterback. So yeah, I can see that.
so guess what,
Except
everybody? You know what time it is? Bleh, 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 bleh. Yuck time. Bleh. The JJ Wang loves his defenses and kickers, so we're gonna highlight a defense and a kicker. You wanna go first?
yeah, I'll go first, and I'm going to go with probably the most reliable kicker in the history of the NFL. I don't know.
Okay.
Did we? Hope we haven't done him yet. Have we done Justin Tucker?
No, I
All right.
almost did him.
All right, so I'm afraid we because but yeah, I mean, it's Justin Tucker. He's got the biggest leg in the NFL. I think he made like a 98-yard field goal last year. I
It
mean, 98 might have been an exaggeration. It probably wasn't, but it
was
seemed like
99.
yeah, it seemed like it was that far. But I mean, this guy is just probably the most consistent kicker. I mean, could he? Is he already the best kicker in the history of the NFL?
Ooh, Vinatieri would take him to a
Yeah,
death match for that. Uh,
I think, but Vinatieri didn't have the leg that,
but I
but he
don't
has the
know.
clutch. He has the clutch kicks in the
The
Super Bowl.
but Justin Tucker has never really had the Oh,
He's got a 68-yard field goal.
Tucker has 90%, 90.5% rate. Vinatieri only 84.3.
That's
But the
why.
question really is, how
Why?
much of that happened when he got old?
Yeah, but why? Why? Everybody knows Vinatieri because of the three
The
kicks,
good
right?
teams. Well, the
Right.
good teams too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but because of the Super Bowl kicks. I think everybody knows Justin Tucker just because the guy got a leg, man. He's got a cancer. It's just what you want.
Yeah.
And I think with Justin Tucker's leg, that probably puts him over the top because he's damn accurate and he's got a huge leg. I mean, the guy has more. I think he's got to have more 60-yard field goals than anybody in NFL history. He's got it. I feel like he's got to. He's probably got like 8 of the top 15 longest kicks in history.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue.
But so yeah, that's my kicker.
And he can sing like a champ.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's an opera singer.
Not know
How
that
crazy is that? Yeah, he's an opera singer. He's pretty awesome. So I'm highlighting defenses this week, and this week I'm highlighting a defense, and I had to change my defense. Originally, I put Tampa. Then I looked at that schedule. I don't want that defense. It's going to be brutal. They're going to win a lot of games, but that defense might get beat up a little bit. So I zagged. I went over to the Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl Cinderella runner-up, and I did it for the same reason that I looked at the Browns. Their schedule's not as easy at the beginning, but it's still not terribly hard. There's a couple of things here, but they get to play the Steelers twice this year. They're going to play the Jets. They're going to play my Dolphins. They're going to play the NFC South, which is going to be Falcons from October 16th through November 6th. Here's their schedule. Saints, Falcons, Browns, Panthers, followed by the Steelers and the Titans, who I think are going to have a bad year. It gets a little harder because then they got the Chiefs. But if you're looking there for a mid-season defense, keep an eye on the Bengals because they're middle of the season. Right after you drop the Browns, pick up the Bengals because they play the Jets. And that's sort of how I'm playing my defense roulette this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of
not stellar, but it's
I'm on the fence with the Bengals like I am Hollywood. Like I don't know where the Bengals are going to fall. I know their offense is going to probably put up a lot of points, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to translate into wins like it did last year. We all know how the Super Bowl loser fares like the following year. I mean, the track record hasn't been great. I can see the Bengals doing that exact same thing. I mean, do they make the playoffs? I think so. But if they don't, am I surprised that they don't make it? Absolutely not. I mean, they're in a tough conference or a tough division. They're going to be beating each other up, and like they always, not 100% certain on the Bengals.
Yeah. Oh, I'm totally, yeah, I'm with you. And I think I just think that it's just that middle of the season that looks kind of tasty. You don't want them for the playoffs because the playoffs they're playing like the Bills. Who was it? I just put it down so I could do the closing of the show. But it's brutal there towards the end. But yeah,
man,
Bills, Chiefs.
I gotta figure out who my favorite team is, man.
Oh, well,
I gotta make a decision before the season starts.
Yeah, your favorite team is probably JJ Wang's Dynasty Diamonds.
Yeah, that's my favorite team. Absolutely,
that's his fantasy football team name.
Yeah,
by the way.
I mean, but like as far as real NFL goes, I got to pick my team. Maybe.
But yeah, so that's our stat line arguments and our yuck time for the week. Take a moment. We're still looking for 1 or 2 more people. I don't want to have to cancel. Apparently, nobody likes best ball. We need someone to join our best ball league to wrap it up. JJ Wang's going to join as soon as we're done here.
I think I finally got my whole
my
car situation taken care of. It's been a week and no issues, so I think I might be all right.
So once he gets in, we have 1 more spot, and I want to get that draft rolling so we can get it done in the next month. So 1 more best ball spot. Once you do it, you'll be like, ooh, this is kind of fun just for a little bit of draft fun while we're going through mid-July into draft season. So JJ Wang, give us your wisdom, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, so if you are playing with kickers and defense, don't ignore these guys. These guys can help you win games. You never know when your kicker is going to go off for 20 points or your defense going off for 20 points. Just make sure you're paying a little bit of attention to the kickers and defenses. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to like them. I don't like tight ends, but I still pay a little bit of attention to them. I mean, that's just you've got to. You've got to start one. You at least got to start at least one. Well, not all these, but yeah, just pay attention to the kicker and the defense. And as always, trust yourself and trust the process.